During First Minister's questions, the First Minister ranted about Boris Johnson and leapt to the defence of his predecessor, with opponents saying his foaming outburst proves he is simply continuity Sturgeon. Humza Yousaf's defence of SNP COVID pandemic decisions was labelled bizarre after he rejected suggestions that Nicola Sturgeon politicised the public health crisis, and even said he was pleased she was in charge during it. His defence came despite his predecessor's reputation being destroyed by her deleting messages. He was confronted at First Minister questions by Scottish Tory leader Douglas Ross, who pointed to emails revealed at the UK COVID inquiry of a senior government figure urging travel restrictions to Spain being dropped as it may affect how the country reacts to an independent Scotland joining the European Union. The SNP leader attempted to claim that no decision was made about reducing restrictions but was left red-faced when evidence was shown that he himself introduced a travel corridor to Spain just a day after this email was sent. And he was forced to defend Ms. Sturgeon once again, despite her being leftist. Mr. Ross said, an email revealed yesterday by the UK COVID inquiry included senior SNP government figures discussing the travel ban to Spain in July 2020. The email read, "It won't matter how much ministers might justify it on health grounds, the Spanish government will conclude it is entirely political. There is a real possibility they will never approve EU membership for an independent Scotland as a result." This wasn't a low-level consideration. The people included in this discussion were Nicola Sturgeon, John Swinney, Jean Freeman and Humza Yousaf. First Minister, why was independence even considered in a decision about public health? The day after this email was sent, Humza Yousaf announced the Spanish travel ban was being removed. In black and white, evidence at the inquiry shows the SNP were thinking about independence instead of focusing on public health. In his defense, Mr. Yousaf claimed it was a senior civil servant who sent the email, not a government minister, despite bureaucrats expected to be politically unbiased. He accused Mr. Ross of misrepresenting facts as he said they kept Spain on the exempt list. The Scottish Tory leader called this bizarre as he pointed to a tweet from the then Health Secretary on July 20, a day after the email was sent, which said that Spain would be added to the exemption list. It was later removed after a few days after COVID cases spiked. Mr. Ross added, even after Nicola Sturgeon's damning appearance at the COVID inquiry yesterday, Humza Yousaf still backs her to the hilt. He is simply Nicola Sturgeon's continuity First Minister. As Health Secretary during the pandemic, Humza Yousaf joked about not knowing what he was doing. By that stage, 10,000 people had already died from COVID. But he wasn't the only one who has now been found